was me just noodling around with 13th chords. Watch my lesson on the Rockabilly 9th chords, because that will kind of give you a backstory on how we end up with the description of a chord being root note and then the number 7, 9, 11. Today we're looking at 13. We're skipping the 11th, but I will give you a little bit of, I'll explain that. So you'll remember with the dominant, with like a G9, it is a dominant 7 with a 9th, okay? When we have a dominant 7 chord and we add the 9th degree, we can kind of delete the 7, we can get rid of the 7, and we can just call it by that additional degree, okay? So if it happens to be the key of G, and we're using the note A, that will be the 9th degree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If we're putting that on top of a dominant 7, we just call the chord 9, and it actually means that flat 7, that 7th degree, is in the chord. It's like a G7 with the 9. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Today we're going to be doing a G7 chord with the 6th degree on top. And you're saying, well, how does that make 13? Check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The E natural is the 6th. If we keep going, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's use a flat 7 for the sake of the argument. Flat 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, that was a 6th degree there, 6th degree there, but second time around, and particularly after a flat 7, that becomes a 13. So how would we play that? Well, we play a dominant 7 chord, which we might use the good old jazz voicing, which is 3rd fret on the 3rd string, 3rd fret on the 6th string, 3rd fret on the 4th string, 4th fret on the 3rd string, and our pinky can play the E up there like that. Now, because we have that flat 7 and the 6 right there, okay, we call that the 13. That's the way it is, guys. If it was a major 7 with the 6, we'd call it a major 13. So we just don't need to say 7 more or less, if that makes sense. Okay, but you might not be here entirely for a theory lesson, so let's get on with the actual chords that we can use here. So a G13 looks like that, okay? And of course, so that's 3rd fret on the 6th, 3rd fret on the 4th, which is, so we've got a G, we've got an F, we've got a B on the 3rd string, which is the 4th fret. I've got my pinky on the 5th fret, okay, of the 2nd string, and now we can just bar across. Okay, so we don't even need, we could actually play it differently. We could bar right across if we want an extra note. You could play it like I just mentioned, or bar that finger right across. We get this note here as well, so you get the root note again on the top. That's really useful for playing little melodies, especially if you're check picking. Okay, so in the transcription on my Patreon, with the little chords, I've just tabbed out these chords for you in the structure of a blues, more or less, but without any necessary rhythm. You can work that out yourself, I guess, for now. We can get into that later, but I've included this whole thing where we add the 9 as well, and we remove the 9. So that's the 9 here on the top, and that doesn't make it a G9 chord, it's still a G13. When we say 13, pretty much any of the extensions that come before can be included. That, I think, comes very much from a time when guys like Bill Evans and piano players were using a lot of these ideas, these extensions, and a lot of the piano players, they had enough fingers to stack extra notes on top of the regular dominant 7 chords, and it would be called a 13, but a piano player would probably be using a lot of those extensions leading up to that note. As a guitar player, we don't really have that luxury, so it can get a little confusing. But technically, if we've got a 9 and a 6, we go for the highest degree. A 9 or a 6 above the 7th, we go for the highest degree, okay? In this case, you know, it's a 9, not highest in terms of pitch, highest in terms of, you know, numeracy, I guess. So we call that a 13, even though we've got the 9 as well. Okay, it's just a little point of reference for melody too. I also like to use my thumb, okay, because it frees up my fingers a little bit. Okay, so now as far as the right hand stuff goes, I'm not going to get into that today. That would be probably utilizing some Travis picking lessons and stuff, which you can also find on my channel. But for now, that's something you could sort of pick around. Obviously, if you're going to strum right through that, you're going to need to mute the 5th string. Okay, you're going to want to kill that. You could use your thumb to kill it a little bit, or use your first finger to kill it a little bit. All right, but moving right along, if we wanted to play a C13, we would do it like this. Here's C, it's a root note. E is the 3rd, and that's the 2nd fret on the 4th string. A lot of information to get across in a chord, I tell you. 3rd fret on the 3rd string, which is a B flat. That's the flat 7 of C. And then we've got 2 options here, so we can play the natural 3rd of C, which is an E. And then we have the 13 way up here on the 1st string, the A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so even though we have all these details like a flat 7 in there, we could even make it a 9 chord with the 9 there. And that, we still just call that a 13. So that's a C13. And all these rules apply to the 5 chord in a blues as well. Given that the G is the root chord, C would be the 4 chord, D would be the 5 chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, build the chord from there. There's your 5 chord. Okay, so we could play a 13 chord like that, or we could play it with including the 9, where we just are getting the 1st finger on the 1st string, pinky on the 1st string. Okay, and the difference is pretty minimal. Okay, pretty minimal. And then of course we can start lifting and removing these extensions and playing little melodies. Okay. Or again, you might just be strumming and picking. Okay, so on the transcription on my Patreon, I've just included a tab version of each one of these chords. Of course, we can take that G13 right up to the 8th fret. Okay, and we're using the thumb. So that's with the pinky added, pinky removed. Okay, either's a 13 because of the 13th degree is there. Okay, that's a 9th with the pinky, a C9. Oh wow, sorry, C13 with the 9th. Okay, and then this one, same thing. With the 9th, without the 9th, okay? But both have the 13 involved. Both times we still just call it the 13 chord. So I'll give you a little demonstration again on how we could muck around with that sort of thing. I hope you enjoyed that, guys. Check out the video on the 9th chords if you're not familiar with that, or go back and have a look at the theory for rockabilly and psychobilly videos. I systematically go through what a major scale is, what a minor scale is, how the chords are built. And it's only really, you know, if you add up all the videos, it's probably only about an hour's work, so it's worth checking out. Like, guys, comment, let me know what you think, and of course, subscribe. It all helps. Check out the Patreon, etc., etc. You get the idea. See you later.